everybody. I'm sitting out here under a shade tree in the backyard, taking a break over at the Key Roadhouse. I'm rehabbing. Oh, I'm sweaty, I'm hot. It's a beautiful fall day here in Atlanta. Kind of fallish. It's going to warm on up. But on my morning post this morning, I wrote about two things that happened in my life that were life-changing, and then I went on to mention many other things that actually were life-changing in my life also. One of them was an out-of-body experience I had, and the other is a near-death experience. And both of them had really impacts on my life. And so I want to talk about out-of-body experiences in this little video right here. And mine and what happened and how I've processed it over the years, and the impact in the moment that it had on me. And I don't know why out-of-the-body experiences happen, but they do happen. And for whatever reason, the only way I can describe it is your consciousness, your being, your soul, your spirit, whatever that is, that's causing me to form words right now and to take in the earth's air, whatever that is. It's not this flesh and bone and fingernails and nose hairs and hair on my head and all that's going to be laid in the dirt. And in its own way, the hair will still grow and there's life in it. Eventually there won't be life in it, but for whatever reason, a lot of people have experienced something where whatever our consciousness is separates from this body. And there's no warning. There's no trauma that maybe happened the night before. There's no bump on the head. Let me just explain what happened to me. Heather was maybe 5 or 6 years old, so I gauged the time by that. So that means Heather was born when I was 18, and so I was maybe 24, 25. Kathy and I lived at 1266 Woodland Avenue off of Confederate, which is now United Way, in a little 2-bedroom, 1 house, 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. And it was about 1, 2 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. I woke up. And as I woke up, I sat up on the side of the bed. And I had this weird, strange feeling because I looked back and immediately I saw myself in the bed, still laying there, like I was asleep, and I could see Kathy laying there asleep beside me. I knew immediately something had happened, but I didn't know what. And I'm wide awake. This energy, presence, consciousness, whatever this is totally coherent, wide awake. And I stand up, and Heather's little bedroom, our bedroom went out into a little foyer, and then the bathroom was off of that, and Heather's bedroom was off of that. So I walk in there, and I check on Heather to make sure she's okay. And she's laying there in her little bed, sound asleep. And for whatever reason, I walk through the house and walk into the kitchen, and I just stand at the kitchen counter, and I just kind of look around and think, what's going on? Because I know I'm laying in there in the bed. And then I thought, have I died? Have I died? If I have, this is odd. This feels weird. Now, I'm going to tell you, I've had intense visions in my life. I've had my granny and Aunt Betty and my Aunt Corrine to come to me one time in a vision about a death that was in the family and told me that they was aware of what's going on. And I met them in the vision at the banks of a creek that reminded me of Haynes Creek in Conyers. my Granny Bratcher and my aunts come walking across the creek. There was rocks across it. Water was running. Intense vision. And told me, said, Eddie, we're aware of what's going on. I was going to preach a funeral the next day or two. That had really hurt the family. And just a whole... So I've had those spiritual things. Out-of-body experience was nothing spiritual. Was nothing about the Lord. Was nothing about Jesus. Was nothing about, a warning, a prophetic word. It was just my soul came up out of my body. And so I don't know, this didn't go on long, but I walked back in the bedroom and I sit back down beside my body. I'm looking at Kathy, I'm looking at that. I lay back down on my body, and I wasn't asleep, never went to sleep, didn't wake back up. I was awake the whole time. As I laid back down in my body and I were back united. We were together again. Well, I laid there, and my brain couldn't process this. As a 24-year-old man, I couldn't process this. And so I laid there, and I thought, I need to get out of this house. This was my experience. It was 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, I need to get my family out of this house. I felt like, here's what I felt like in that moment. It scared me once I was back in my body. I'm like, death is lingering in this house. It was not a pleasant feeling. And I'm not saying this that when you come time to die, I'll share a video later on the near-death experience. But for out-of-body experience now, it weirded me out. It didn't make me feel like, oh, look at me, I've had this experience, I'm spiritual, I'm walking into world. None of that. It freaked me out. So Kathy could verify this. I shook Kathy for a few minutes, and she woke up, and she said, what is it? I said, something happened. I think I almost died. She jumped up out of the bed. She said, we need to get up. We got up because it freaked her out, because she's seen something had changed in me. Something was seriously, I was not doing well with this out-of-body experience. And she got up, got Heather, picked up Heather, and we got out of that house in the middle of the night, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. My mama lived over across from Friendship Baptist Church on one side of the duplex on Gaskell Street in Cabbagetown. We get up, we go over there, and I knock on the door, and somebody lets me in, maybe my brother Joe or something, but my brother James, me and Kathy and Heather walk in to my mama's house. My brother James was staying there, and he slept in a recliner in the living room, and he was laid back in the recliner. Well, as I'm walking in, he looks up at me, and he's like, brother, you look like you've seen a ghost. What's going on? And I said, just the terminology of that. What he didn't know is I'd seen my ghost. I'd seen my ghost. And well, just him saying that, I told him, I said, well, it's just something weird happened. But I'm telling you, the intensity of it in that moment was so uncanny and disturbing that we got up and got out of that house at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, went to Mama's house. And after that night, I had to work late the next night. I didn't get off till about 9 o'clock the next night. We had a big job down at Georgia Blue. And so when I came home, we had a little sitting bench in the front yard on Woodland Avenue. When I came home, it was dark, little porch light on. Kathy and Heather was sitting outside on that bench. I pulled up the driveway, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? They're like, we're waiting for you to get home. We just don't feel right in this house. This was all from just a night of me having that experience. We never liked that house after that. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the house. It had nothing to do with, but we never liked that house. We didn't want to live there no more. We moved. We moved out of that house. And it was spooky, scary. But in the moment, it wasn't. So as the years have went by, now, that was 45 years ago, that I've carried that with me all through my life. That when I think about, is there people on the other side? Is there people walking around on this dimension with us that we don't see? Could I have been one of those people if I hadn't went back into my body that night? Will I be like that when I do die? Will I just get up and walk in the kitchen and think, nah, is there a Coke in here? I don't know if I could have drank one, but it felt pretty human, like I was human. I just wasn't with my body no more. And so I share that with you today. It's just an experience. I don't tell you what to take of it, how you know, if it ever happens to you. But I know this, that for the 17 years later on that I pastored a church, that experience never fit into any message that I could preach. When that experience, I never could, because it terrified me afterwards, not while it was going on, but afterwards. There was something odd about it. There was something odd about the house. I wondered, I mean, it's been so many years ago now, it's dull in my memory, but I wondered afterwards, why did I almost die that night? Why did my body, it wasn't something the Lord was trying to show me, or God was trying to get me to see, or but when we think about the hereafter, yeah, you can take all the scripture you want to and process it and read it and believe it, and that's up to you. Make heads and tails meet with it. But really and truly, for me, the only experience I have to go on about what happens in the afterlife is our experiences we have along this journey. I do believe we have dreams and visions. I do believe our loved ones come to us in dreams, because dreams are the part of our subconscious that is going to always be here. I don't know. But anyhow, that was my experience in an out-of-body experience. It was really kind of freaky and creepy and odd. And I guess if I just wrapped it up with this, life is a mystery. Every bit of this is mysterious. Yeah, a lot of people are like, I don't believe in nothing. I just believe in blood and bone, die, take your last breath, get out of here. I know that not to be true from my perspective. There's a mystery to all this. Yeah. Love y'all.